Hello fam, welcome back on the channel. I hope you guys are doing well whatever you are. In today's episode, I came across a recent TikTok video by an African creator known as Daddy Clivet. This is his TikTok account. So this video that he created has sparked an important conversation online about African restaurants in the United States because he himself, he lives in the United States as well. And in the video, he urges that many African restaurants in the United States charge excessively high prices for ordinary meals, making African food in the United States unaffordable for some people. And according to him, this is one of the reasons why African restaurants struggle to attract American customers, while Asian and the Mexican restaurants continue to thrive. And honestly, as an African coming across this video, I was touched because this is quite an embarrassment. I am ashamed on the behalf of my fellow Africans in the United States that are having these restaurants and they are skyrocketing their prices. And mind you, whatever he said, he did not lie, because guess what? There are other African creators that have come out, stitched onto his video saying that whatever he said, he's actually not lying. Now, I'd like to know exactly what you think down in the commentary, in case you're also an African living in the United States or in Canada, or you are an American and maybe you have visited some of these African restaurants and probably you have witnessed this as well. Now, if you've come across my channel for the very first time, Sumi here. I hope you do consider subscribing on the channel. Tap on that bell so that every time I upload anything here, you are notified. At the same time, don't forget to like the video, share it, just to keep me onto the algorithm. Let's roll the clip.
African food in the US is so expensive. That's the reason you don't see too many Americans in African restaurants. But when you go to Asian or Chinese restaurants, you see Americans lined up like beads on a string. Africans, we don't have gold in our food. Jollof rice is basically rice, tomatoes, and oil, and small ingredients. That's it. All of these things were bought in the US for no money. But the way you guys skyrocket the prices is, I'm not talking about high-end or upscale restaurants. If I go to Continent DC, I know that's an upscale restaurant because they serve you food, they serve you, they even put water in your cup. But some of you African, you sell a bottle of water for $2, $1.50 for a small bottle of water. Look at food for $29. If you go to American soul food restaurant with $29, you know what you're gonna buy? Have you seen their platters? If you go to Asian restaurant, Saku, Japan, if you buy food for $15, you won't be able to finish it. If you go to Chinese restaurants with $13, in American restaurants, their prices are usually $15, $17, $18, $19, $20. Africans, I wanted to eat roasted tilapia. They said it's $45 with no plantain, with plantain $50. $50 for roasted tilapia. That tilapia is $5. I'm not exaggerating. That tilapia is $5 at the grocery store. But they are selling it for $50. Africans, we have to, I understand all of us are coming to look. Some of you even sell hot sauce. The American restaurant will give you free hot sauce. In some cases, they even give you free water. Chill. That's the reason why Americans don't patronize us all the time. Because our food is so expensive. When they go to Chick-fil-A, when they go to Popeyes, Chipotle, they don't spend more than $15 there. And they eat well. We don't have gold in our food. You guys should chill. Chill. If you see the way Americans serve their chicken and their turkey, wow, wow, wow. If you go to African restaurant, pinch, stingy with portion, only price. Please chill. I've seen so many comments asking why African food is so expensive. The answer is greed. Most African business owners in the US are so greedy and wicked. Not all of them. Upscale restaurants like Continent DC, Lagos, New York, Lagos, these are all upscale restaurants. Sometimes your saver is even a white or a Latino. I'm talking about the average African restaurant. Bad customer service is here. Greediness is here.
Now, as someone who has worked in an African restaurant that was paid $3.47 an hour, this is what I have to say concerning this video. Everything that Daddy Clivet said here is true and even more. There is worse. You would think with all this money that these people make, they pay their workers. Well, they don't. In fact, they don't even employ those with documents. Most of these African restaurants, they employ those that have just come in from Africa. Those who are yet to have their documents. In fact, when you go to Upejo, they'll tell you normally we don't employ those with documents. If you have your papers, we don't employ you because they will have to pay you more, right? Because if you have your documents, you have to pay your tax and all of that, so they will have to pay you more. So they tell you normally we don't employ those with documents. When I moved in from California to Maryland, I was going through emotional problems. My sister told me I had to sit in the house for a while, like regain myself before I can start working. I told her, okay. For the meantime, I was in the house, like I was getting depressed. I was thinking a lot. I was like, no, I can't take this anymore. Let me just do something for the meantime. And when I recover myself, when I fully recover, I can go take my board exam and then I will use my certification to work. She said, okay, there's this lady that just posted that she's looking for someone to work in her restaurant. She's a Cameroonian and I'm a Cameroonian. So I went to this lady and said, okay, I was discussing with her. I asked her, how much are you going to pay me? She said she was going to give me $500 every 2 weeks. Literally, she was going to pay me $3.47 an hour. And she wanted me to work 12 hours a day. 12 hours, 6 days a week, including all my weekends. And I could only quit after 6 months. Come and see exploitation. Like, really, how much does she sell a plate of food? $25. Means this person, the someone I would call my own sister, could not even sacrifice a plate of food as my pay for that day. No. And let me tell you, these people have customers. Let me tell you, if I say they don't make money in that day, it's like 2,000. That means if they have not sold anything for that day. And you are cooking, you are cleaning, you are serving. It's not like you're going to stick to one thing. No, you're doing everything and then they pay you $3.47 an hour. Why are you guys so wicked, even to your own kind? Very soon people say Donald Trump has done this, Donald Trump. You people are wicked. You people are worse. You people do worse to your own kind. Yes, very wicked. And people be complaining, oh, the customer service is poor. Tell me, how will you even treat customers right when you have stressed yourself out the whole day? You barely smile. Knowing fully well that you are stressed and they are not even giving you anything. And then they'll tell you, we don't give you much because you take the tips. My dear, by the time you accept that job, you start working, you will never see a tip with your eye. They don't give you the tips. I did not only end there. I went to another restaurant owned by a Nigerian. Part 2.
In the US is so expensive. That's the reason you don't see too many Americans in African restaurants. But when you go to Asian or Chinese restaurants, you see Americans lined up like beads on a string. Africans, we don't have gold in our food. Jollof rice is basically rice, tomatoes, and oil, and small ingredients. That's it. All of these things were bought in the US for no money. But the way you guys skyrocket the prices, I'm not talking about high-end or upscale restaurants. If I go to Continent DC, I know that's an upscale restaurant because they serve you food, they serve you, they even put water in your cup. But some of you Africans, you sell a bottle of water for $2, $1.50 for a small bottle of water. Look at food for $29. If you go to American soul food restaurant with $29, you know what you're gonna buy?
So you meant to tell me that this thing is actually a worldwide web something. I thought it was just a Canada thing. I thought it was a Canada thing because I stay in Canada, I live in Canada, right? I thought it was just a Toronto thing. I know that it even extends to the state. Not a single I told. Like, it's actually annoying. Like, to say the least, it's very, very annoying. I just feel like they are very inconsiderate. I'm talking about like Nigerian restaurants that sell food for like $20-something, $30-something for something dollars. I think at some points in the video, I was talking about he wanted to buy I think grilled tilapia fish, and they wanted to sell it for $45. $45 for tilapia fish. If you go to the any store, tilapia fish, I don't eat fish. I don't know how much fish cost, but it was just like $5 there. But so imagine going from $5 to $45. Like, that's actually insane. That's crazy. But yeah, I think like restaurants or like Nigerian restaurants, you guys should try and be considerate. Like literally, you guys should be trying to consider. It don't make sense anymore.
All right, welcome back once again. If you've watched these videos up to this far, Thank you so very much. And I'm thinking you are enjoying every single bit of this video, and probably you are relating to it because maybe the same thing has ever happened to you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, when I was reading down in the commentary under these same videos, these are some of the comments that people were saying. Somebody said, I can't believe you as a whole African sit there talking about African people who sell African food are greedy. Wow, is he being for real? African food take time before making it. So literally what this person's point is all about, that one of the reasons why these African foods are literally expensive in the United States, apparently it's because it takes a lot of time to prepare all these meals. I don't know about that because, well, it depends the kind of food definitely that they are cooking. How long does it take to prepare jollof rice? If you're Nigerian, please tell me down in the commentary. And somebody replied saying, 30 jollof? Yeah, that is definitely greed. Wow. And somebody brought out the braiding shops too. And by the way, I myself, I have had that complaint as well. Americans have been running away from the African braiding shops and the restaurants. Prices are so high. Now, one thing I found very so self-explanatory, for example, you can go to these Asian restaurants or the Mexican restaurants or Black people's restaurant, and you find out that the bottle of water is just at $1. And then when you go to the African restaurants, a bottle of water is at $2. And then I'm like, the people who are giving an excuse that, or it is because, you know, when it comes to African food, the food is always, you know, the food takes long to be prepared. So you want to tell me even the bottle of water needs to be, which labor do they really have to put on to getting that water? Because they just buy it from these wholesalers. I don't understand the science behind that. And definitely, yes, I should say that is real greed. Because you can't go to the other restaurants and people are selling their food at the normal market price, but for you, you're making your food so expensive to an extent that people can't even afford their meals anymore. And this is not only happening to their meals, but even how they are treating fellow Africans. I mean, we heard from the clip that we watched from one of the lady who stitched onto Daddy Clevity's video. She has given her experience, and I'm telling you, the story is quite so sad. And at the same time, what even makes this whole matter even more worse is the fact that they give you very small portions of food at a very high price. For example, they are between $25 and $50 for a meal that often come in much smaller portions. Even gives the example of roasted tilapia costing as much as $50 with plantain, despite the fish itself being relatively expensive in grocery stores. That is crazy. He also brought out another point that I thought this was also very important to talk about. He criticizes practices that many customers find unreasonable, such as charging separately for bottle of water or hot sauce. Like, why? They even charge for extra sauce? And I know some of you might be like, oh, you know, restaurants face charges like paying for bills, rent, utilities, taxes. So you want to tell me that the other restaurants don't go through the same consequences like the Asian restaurants, the Mexican restaurants, and the Black people's restaurants? Why is their food affordable? Have you had people complaining about their prices? When it comes to the African restaurants in the United States, why are their prices so high? Are they renting in the sky, in the air? Are they renting on the ocean, on the waters? So why would they make their food so expensive? It is all being driven by greed. And as an African, I feel like now my Africans have taken their scamming tactic in America and they cannot hide it. Something that is meant for $2, they are going to sell it to you for $4. That is a scamming mentality. And we all know that. I'm not even going to sit here and start covering up things or sugarcoating things because this is an embarrassment. I am embarrassed. They could not hide their real scamming culture. for so long. The moment they reach there, then they are doubling everything. It's an embarrassment, and guess what? People are finding out this culture, and it is a shame. So I don't know what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Me coming across this video for Daddy Clevet and the other creators that have stitched on his video, I thought this is a conversation that me and you we would want to honestly discuss about. And I'm sure Daddy Clevet is not lying, because from the people that have stitched on his video, they are telling the real stories, and it's quite an embarrassment. So I don't know what you think, ladies and gentlemen. If you've watched this video up to this far, probably has caught your attention, and maybe you have experienced the same thing as well. If I'm to ask a question, have you tried to visit some of these African restaurants in the United States? Have you experienced the same thing? Or you think people are just being too much? Put down your thoughts down in the commentary, and I think we shall meet again in another video that I'll be uploading sooner. As always, I think have a beautiful day. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.